I just gotta wait and see. It looks like it's live. Cool. All right, you got like 30 seconds, and we'll jump into it. You don't got to mute or anything, but I'll just start the intro, obviously.
Okay, cool.
$15. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call with a special guest. Voidy's here from Void Dudes on
Hello, everybody.
Or Voidy Vids on YouTube, Void Dude on Twitch. And yeah, Croncy had a bit of an emergency, messaged me, and I put out the call, and Voidy answered the call for Answer the Call today. So we got a special guest, and I think it's going to be really fun. I've been I mean, God, Voidy, you were probably one of my original Twitch viewers way back. I remember your name from the old days.
Twerk fan back in the day, yeah.
Exactly. And then now you're making YouTube and Twitch content, and I'm one of your biggest fans. I feel like I watch all your stuff. So I thought it would be really fun, because I think you've done a little bit of shift in your content because the game and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that. And I've really been enjoying it, and I think out of everybody I could have asked to fill Croncy's spot today, I think you're the perfect one, because I think you've had like a really balanced take on 324 and all the things that you've been doing lately, and I think it's going to be a really healthy conversation. So welcome. For the people who don't know you, who are you? What do you do? Maybe give your brief history. You've been on the podcast before, but
yeah.
People
I've also called in a couple of times. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a good time. I mean, I love propagating all things Star Citizen discussion, even though that's not primarily the focus of the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is really demonstrating gameplay and, telling stories and having fun and trying to be a, dumbass entertainer. So, that, I guess it all kind of started with Jumptown. I was...
that's when I started finding your videos.
Yeah. I was very enamored with Jumptown, right? I feel like it was the first time that, and I mean, I'm talking Jumptown 2.0. I did experience some of the, the old school Jumptown, which was a glitch or whatever with the code, and the values were too high and stuff like this, which
but it was cool, but it wasn't the same, right? Because you weren't actually
sure.
looting stuff from anybody or anything like that, right? So
yeah.
And
I think just the open nature of it, and the creativity with which you could approach the goal, right? It like, as soon as this is the greatest thing about Jumptown is that it has a goal that many players are competing over, and that leads to just some of the most insane scenarios, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's time in the sun is probably set. It's not as exciting or hype as it used to be. I think a huge portion of the community is very much over it. And actually, through Jumptown and through Voidy Vids, a couple of other South African Star Citizens eventually reached out to me, and we got along so well. And that's how I met Fair and Nerve, and we sort of started an org. I try and keep the org very separate from Voidy Vids. It's too many complications there, and I can't, I just don't have the time for all of the shit.
I do the same with mine.
Yeah.
I can't.
And
it's too much.
And we just and I mean, obviously the Jumptown gameplay lent itself very well. Jacking ships for the maze kind of a thing. That translated eventually as 3.18 came online. I think piracy is when I was like, okay, cool, time to be a pirate. This is legit. This is very cool. And I mean, warts and all, the state that Star Citizen's in, it's still very much somehow capable of providing these incredibly unique experiences that I don't think any other. And I mean, unironically, right? I know this sounds very white knighty and very, to the far end of the spectrum, but it's like
not white knighty.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane what is capable, right? And now I just kind of slowly, we follow the game, and we just hope that this vision will get realized, and that the features and the the components that need to come together to make this stuff happen with less friction and for the game to become a game. This is a very common thread in a lot of your content, right? And yeah, I mean that's pretty much me. It's just, YouTube stuff, and I've been dipping my toes into streaming. I'm not very good at being consistent with the streams, but I try to be. And yeah, we'll see how it goes for the rest of this year. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life, so I'm gonna keep at it. But obviously life comes first, and we've got a big move coming up and this type of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's me.
It's streaming will always be there. It's no big deal, right? You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I think your content like is the, especially the storytelling and all that stuff is that's gonna be the content for this game going forward. It just needs a little bit more,
I think it was you when we spoke originally way back when, and I think Tomato also said so. Space Tomato was like, man, you guys would just love to make that that progression type content that you see with like DayZ videos. And I was like, holy shit, this is what people want to do. And I was naive enough to believe that by the time, at least by this time, 2024, we would have some kind of persistent Star Citizen experience that you would always come back to and be able to carry. Not that you can't do it now, but it's not quite the same, right?
You've done it.
Yeah, sure, but it's not like, in DayZ, right? Some of these guys tell the story of the entire experience on the server from day 1 to like day 100 or day 200. I mean, it's it's a classic trope on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And is Star Citizen capable of that now? I don't think there's enough progression, right? And I think when we get the base building and true persistence and this type of stuff, then maybe I would love to do that. I was actually talking to the guys and saying like, 4.0, maybe we try and do like longer form content and things that lead on one after the other. But it really just is the state of the game that I think inhibits us a little bit at the moment. And the lack of progression. I think that's actually the biggest thing, right? It doesn't matter, even if the game stays the exact same way that it is today, in terms of, getting back to where you were, because this is maybe a more technical sort of thing and maybe a bit of a pivot, but like when you leave the game, you're always back at your last space station, right? And I think that's maybe, I mean, if these are problems that can be solved, or do they even think this is a problem in the first place, right? Like space is big. I think it should be okay to be able to do this, right? So yeah, when these types of things come online, maybe we'll start seeing a lot more Star Citizen creators transfer to this type of content, right? And I think that's pretty exciting, man.
Yeah, I've always struggled personally with the narration of things. Like I feel like I've had some really fun experiences and some really cool stories or things that happen to me, but then how to turn it into a fun video or whatever has been like. I think my last attempt at it was my experience with the engineering demo. It was in Arena Commander, you know what I mean? But it was it was the process of us like figuring it out and being like, whoa, this was cool. This was a cool experience, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's my last real attempt at it, and yeah. Oh, the guys who are on YouTube, I could see what you say. One of them just said, because he's uncreative and unimaginable or unimaginative. Yeah, I could see you. So
you've already got like a head start, right? Because you've been making content for such a long time. I think transitioning is easier than starting from scratch, right? So I mean, you'll find your groove eventually.
Yeah. Just be respectful. That's all I'm trying to say.
The game will become a game, and you will find your inspiration, man. I think I sit on the toilet or have a shower and I have an idea and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know where these things come from. And that is usually the genesis of a video. I'm like, oh, cool. That's a good joke. Let's hop on that idea. But it's
yeah.
I don't know if this is how people perceive it, but I think having a parody or having something that is, just like a focal point, and it might not even translate. The viewers might not even pick this up, but for me, from the actual script writing process, that is everything. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Now I've got a flow going, and I can finish a script. But sometimes it definitely feels forced. I'm not a comedian or a comedy writer and stuff like this. I'm just doing this very amateurishly and trying to
But the experiences aren't forced. You're not forcing the experiences as much.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. Voidy Vids is 100% organic,
yeah.
Natural, vegan Star Citizen. Man. It's great.
Yeah, because like I think a lot like those Daisy. Okay, there are Daisy videos that are absolutely scripted and forced,
I
but the kind that I watch are not. Like I watch.
Who has the time to like to actually fake this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like this,
Yeah,
that actually blows my. I didn't know that was just a thing. I didn't know people fake things in games. I mean, we've had weird experiences in the
they
past with
do.
people trying to join the org and like, you know, they're so excited to like be in the org with me. As weird as it is to say this, I'm
Oh,
not a
that
very
shit is the
egotistical person. I don't
weirdest.
care.
Yeah.
And they actually try and set up content. You know, they'll be like, "Oh my god, get on Discord, guys! I just found a reclaimer. Like, come, you know, like let's pirate these guys, kind of thing." And they'll like hide on it, or and then they'll say like, "Oh, we're doing this for content," kind of thing. And I'm like, you know, I play with Fair and Nerf because we just want to play the game.
Yeah.
We just want to play the game, right? We're not actually doing anything for content. Everything that I experience with them from a piracy perspective or from an org perspective, I just hit the record button. And whatever, you know, if I look back at that footage and be like, cool, I can translate this into a video and that'll be great.
Yep. Yeah. The the thing that I look for is there was one specific Daisy video, and you want to know something funny about like what you just said? Me and Burks played Daisy together like 2 weeks
Yes.
ago, and it was fun. The guy that we found in the game that we thought was organic was a fucking viewer and was just doing it for
And
content. He did the
it
exact
kind of
thing.
makes you feel weird, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of disrupts things. I don't know. It's weird, man.
Yep. He didn't say anything until after we were done, and then messaged me later and was like, that was me. And I was like, awesome, it was fun, but fuck. I thought I was having an organic experience, you know? And
Yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
what's special about Daisy. But no, like the inspiration that I've always had, it's this Daisy YouTuber. His name's JLK, and he made
okay.
yeah, he's legendary. And I employ everyone here to watch the JLK taxi video. He made a taxi service in Daisy to bring people from the coast up to like near where you would like fight and compete at the like airfields and stuff. And it was amazing. It was the stupidest like idea. So he went in there with an idea like, I'm going to do this thing, but then organically how it came about and how the server like engaged with it and the stories that they told, it might have been scripted, it might have been not this one, but it was amazing. And it was just like, oh my god, then all the ideas started rolling through my head of what I want to do and in Star Citizen, all these cool things that we could do. Look at this sandbox that Daisy provides. We have a sandbox, right? But what Star Citizen doesn't provide is the idea of like, oh, you died, you lost all your stuff, right? Like you die, you lose some of your stuff, but that stuff is the less meaningful thing. Your ship you still have, right? And then all the idea of like, I have this place that I really want to or need to get to play the game, and then everyone was buying into it. Money mattered, and they were building bases, and people were trying to raid the base. Like it was there was so much more to that sandbox, that the idea of you can tell a story from a start to an end, and without things like Jump Town or without being extremely creative, I think it's kind of hard, right? Like you could tell in Star Citizen a story of I went to Jump Town, or Jump Town's a bad example because you can tell a bunch of different stories with that, but like you can only tell the story of I mined Quantanium once, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, right? Are there going to be supporting systems? I don't want to go too heavy into Star Citizen, and I'm quite enjoying the Daisy chat, but like there has to be more surrounding mining, and your journey of becoming, you know, a F tier miner to the S tier miner. What does that journey entail? You know what I'm saying? And like, is it possible to experience this with, oh, I had a run in with pirates, and then this happened, and I stowed away on this ship, and then I ended up in this other system, and I had to make my way back to my ship. You know, the potential is insane, and we always, most of my videos always end up with some kind of waxing poetically about the potential, right?
Yep.
And it's we'll get there one day, but Daisy's a very special thing, man. I can still remember my first real bit of like emergent gameplay, whatever you want to call it, back in Daisy. And I mean, I played the game not too ferociously back when it was kind of I had a couple of friends like, hey, let's check out Daisy. And I remember just the first time I ever encountered another player, I was just like in a, back then it was, you'd get like little convenience stores, and those were usually known as good places to get some decent food and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And as I came around the corner, there's this guy just standing there, and I was behind him, and I was just like, "Hey man, like I'm behind you. Please don't shoot," because every encounter had been hostile, and this was the first time that I had somebody respond to me, and he was like, "Okay, cool, dude. Like I trust you. Like, let's go, bro. Grab this stuff. I've got a bunch of buddies that are hiding in the tree line. Join us." So we joined up and we like ran for hours, and we eventually got to like some derelict construction site, and then another group of people found our group of people, and we just had this massive war. It was like, I can't remember all the details and stuff. It was ages ago, but it was so, playing something like Battlefield after playing something like Half-Life 1, where it's a scripted series of a linear experience through a game, and you've got a helicopter that will always crash at this point in time. And I mean, this is basic stuff, right? I'm not talking anything amazing here. But then you go and play a game like Battlefield, and now every time a helicopter explodes, it's a player-owned helicopter, and it'll fall and explode and do something in a different way. And you slowly become less off the rails. Then you've got something like DayZ, where everything is completely open and sandbox, right? And me playing games since like the 90s, just loving this evolution of how more and more sandbox things have become, and how players have started to tell their own stories, and things that no dev could ever script or design are possible in so many games these days, right? And as a huge science fiction fan, it's probably my favorite genre. Star Citizen just encapsulates all of this, and we just got to kind of hope that it gets there, right?
I think it definitely could, and I think they're trying. I mean, to talk about the sandbox thing, the next level of that is the problem is it's not as immersive. Is for me is Eve. That's what I'm like blown away by, the level of depth that Eve has in terms of everything that I do has like a meaningful impact on the world that is there. Like if I make a bunch of ammo and somebody buys it, like that person's using that ammo somewhere, and I created it. Just everything in those kind of sandbox games are created by the players. Nearly everything. There's some things that aren't, but it's just it's been mind blowing, and it's been super fun. But Eve's very like, well, I'm super zoomed out and I'm just clicking buttons on menus, so like the immersion factor is not mega high all the time. Sometimes it's wild.
But it's the greater picture, right? Of what is going on, what does all this mean? Like, because I mean, Eve, I've got a friend who has hit Eve hard over the years, and he's just like, "Well, dude, I could tell you stories, man. Like, I could sit and we could talk for hours of the crazy shit that it's got on Eve." And I barely know, some of the more popular ones where guys like infiltrated these massive orgs and betrayed, and it's like these insane stories, right? So 100%, man. If Star Citizen can tap into like 5 or 10% of this type of thing that's possible in games like DayZ and Eve, and then
we'd be
already
in good shape.
Yeah, 100%.
And one thing, like for the people who are listening to this, we're both content creators, right? But so we may sound like we're having a content brain perspective on what needs to come to Star Citizen, but if you're able to take Star Citizen and have a organic, random, cool experience that you can also tell a story in, you have a game that everybody has a random, cool experience that you could tell a story in to your friends. Like, it's not just about content. And I think that's what makes sandbox games really special, right? Even like Valheim, playing with Noodle, it's not even a multiplayer game. Like, it's not even like a PvP game, right? But the fact that it's sandboxy enough that the random things that could happen were super fun, and those streams were awesome, and I can't wait to jump back in and at some point with that. So it's
the first time playing Valheim is for me, it was like a top 5 gaming experience ever. Like when all those, because I feel that their progression system was just perfect, right? And I always liken it to because I mean, we've seen these survival games that are like a dime a dozen on Steam kind of a thing, and it is insane, right? And I've got a lot of friends who love these survival games and they want to play them all the time, and I'm just like, no, dude, like this is not for me. Because you open up your inventory and you've got like 9,000 types of scrap and 3,000 types of candy wrapper paper, and it's just like it's this overload of like UI elements that is always in some kind of like grid system that kind of is just overwhelming, and I can never get into them, man. And then Valheim came along, and it was like, okay, cool, we're gonna try and it's more like the StarCraft approach to like
Yeah.
unit design, where it's like your marine never goes out of fashion, right? There's always going to be there are builds that need marines, even though they're the lowest, unit on
Yep.
the tier list. Um, Arguably not so, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and Valheim seemed to make everything matter a little bit more, so you're not just like throwing this insane amount of like junk that doesn't matter. Even though I think by the time you get to Ashlands, there's a lot of shit that you don't need. But it feels like it really honed that experience and made it very what's the word I'm looking for? Like it just like perfected that crafting survival experience for me from my perspective, and like no other survival game comes close for me now, man. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Like we played what was the name of that game for like one session? I never got back into it. I wish I played more with you because I was trying to play Valheim and that at the same time, and Valheim
Mm.
was just better, you know.
Oh, we played it, Enshrouded. Yeah,
Enshrouded's
it,
good,
it
but it just wasn't. It
yeah
needs the amount of time that Valheim has.
it also came out at a very awkward time. There was some other massive release that came out alongside Enshrouded, and it just got like eclipsed by some other game, and I can't
Yeah.
remember what that game is now.
Ooh, I see chat mentioning 7 Days to Die. I really liked my experience in 7 Days to Die as well. There's so many
I,
good games.
I think I use that as one of the examples. I played it with a couple of friends, like one of my survival junkie friends, and I was just like, "Man, what is the guys? What are you making me play here?" Like,
Yeah.
I
I
couldn't get
love
into
that
it, man.
game. I love that game. I thought it was cool. I just love the game where you take one basic ass item and that item has like this insane chain to get towards like some badass
Mm.
item, and it's like I keep looking at mining and like RMC. I hope RMC is like 200 credits at some point. But the idea of these really low value, easy to get things that are a part of the really hard and difficult like end game kind of crafting type stuff.
Yeah, so like RMC is more like a crafting resource than just a commodity kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, we need to get out of commodities as a
Mm.
thing that like we're buying and selling on the stock market, dude. I'm so tired
Yeah.
of that. I guess that's a good transition into 324 a little bit. Is well, this patch is polarizing, and
And you know what, man? When I started making the first little bits and pieces of content for 3.23, I
yeah,
feel like it was exactly the same. So many, and I guess master modes was the thing that was
master
polarizing
modes
people
was
back
the
then. Now
thing.
it's like,
Yep.
yeah. So it's just you're never going to please everybody, I guess. But
Well, polarizing is a
yeah.
weird word. For 324 though, I don't think anybody is a super fan of the content in 324. I think polarizing master modes was definitely polarizing. There were people yelling on both sides. I don't hear a lot of people saying insane good things right now about 324. I think like I'm really enjoying certain aspects of it, but I can't defend anything full
So,
all the way, you know?
so I want to touch on. I think this might be the patch that like it's arguably the least pay to win patch ever released. I haven't we haven't fully been able to do like proper piracy. I mean, we have done some piracy. I stole a caterpillar filled with scrap. I was trying to sell it at the scrapyards, but the elevators wouldn't work. But
Yeah.
this is the patch where you can rock up, and I mean this is obviously from my perspective as a pirate
As
or
a
like
pirate,
an illegal
yeah.
player or whatever. But if you think about it, like when somebody like Summit came along, and I didn't really know that much about Summit before he started playing Star Citizen, right? For that month that he just like
God, I
boosted
watched
all
him
the
when he had
stats.
100 viewers. I started watching
Oh,
him when he
really?
had
Wow.
100 viewers. Yeah.
Okay, hectic. So I from what I do know of him now, he's the kind of guy who represents your everyday gamer who will just go and like play the game, right? What was he gravitated towards in Star Citizen? It was what they started to call tucking and stealing ships and piracy and
Yeah.
selling cargo, right? I think that's very representative of a lot of people who will, when the game's more of a game and that this I don't want to call it a barrier to entry, but all these issues, all this friction, all the bugs, all the issues, the lack
Yeah.
of progression, this type of stuff. When that's reduced by enough of a margin that I've always kind of thought that there will be some kind of point in time where there's, the floodgates open, the game is stable, and everybody starts, everybody's making content about Star Citizen because it's, it's there now, right? It's is this 1.0, is this 1.1, who knows? And I think that represents a large player base of people who just aren't playing the game yet. A lot of people who want to do what I do, a lot of people who want to do what, Cutlet does, and they want to be pirates. They want to live that, do that gameplay loop. And I think with 3.24, it's the first time ever that is arguably the least pay to win to do that type of stuff. Because you can rock up in your Aurora, and I need to confirm this. We did some pretty decent testing on this, and I think we basically proved that it's possible. You rock up in your Aurora, you steal somebody's ship that is filled with RMC or whatever the cargo of the day is, and you don't have to grind or pay your way to a bigger ship to be able to sell that stuff now. Now you just go to Grimhex or, theoretically one of these cargo freight elevators at one of the scrapyard locations, and you can make your little spike of high risk, high reward gameplay.
I tested it as well.
There we go.
You can open, with somebody else's ship, you can open your own hangar, you can go inside, and you are as safe as can be. The only thing that gets in the way of that, but it would be incredibly rare if this happened. Say you stole my ship and you went to Grim, but my spawn was at Grim, and I went to the ASOP terminal as you were unloading my cargo, I could store my ship in your hangar, and you can't stop it. Other than that, that is the only real defense you have after your ship is stolen. So, yeah.
And I mean, this is the thing, right? It's a big game, and there's lots of like these crazy edge cases, which is why, our org is, as soon as a new patch drops, everybody's just trying out new things to find out what the meta is now for piracy, right? And it's always a pretty exciting time. And I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, I don't want to pivot too strongly to like Blockade Runner now, but
we could.
We did a lot of Blockade Runner last night. It was my first time jumping into the event or whatever, and I remember saying to the guys, I was like, man, this feels like everything's coming together. This is insane. Like, I'm in my hangar, my Corsair's busy coming out of the elevator. I'm busy tractoring a Dragonfly. I've grabbed another tractor beam that I've just gone and placed in the Corsair's weapons rack, and I'm going off to go do this event type of thing. And I mean, that felt good. It felt like I was physically interacting with a lot of friction in terms of the moment-to-moment interactions, but it really felt like everything was kind of coming together. The hangar was busy. People were running around and were getting geared up and stuff. And we took off to go on a mission, and the Blockade Runner, it started off pretty all right? So we soft hit a couple of ships, and we loaded up the Zeta Prolanide, and then we got, okay, cool. We couldn't sell it legally at Everest. So we immediately started to go, okay, cool. So like, what's the dark side of this mission like? And we, we just started to attack guys who were mid-loading. I had and this is the thing, like this event has got so much potential, because within 10 minutes, within 30 minutes of loading up Star Citizen, I was in a Corsair flying around, going to these locations, and people were busy loading. So I would just get in my Dragonfly, board them, have that epic boarding interaction experience or whatever, steal their Zeta Prolanide, and then you start to realize, okay, hold on, because I'm a strong believer that every event should have a good side and a bad side, right? I think you're never going, if you're not catering for guys who want to do the PvP, or think of anybody from Cutlet's org, this type of
Depends
stuff.
on where it is. I would disagree with you just slightly.
Yeah, 100%.
Like in a Terra, maybe not, but yeah. For now, I agree.
But you're going to have people who are going to do this, right? And I mean, maybe we're the lesser of those evils, I don't know. And I mean, we're immediately boarding these guys, killing them, taking the Zeta Prolanide for ourselves, and now we're like, okay, cool, now what? We eventually discovered that you can sell it at the scrapyards for the illegal delivery or whatever. That wouldn't work. And then kind of everything just died down. We're like, man,
it does have a price. Yeah. And it's better than it pays better than the cargo missions. So
I logged in this morning to do some testing and just mess around in the game. I saw the first thing in global chat was a guy saying, I just sold like hundreds of units of Zeta Prolanide and I made 20 credits. I was like, what is going on? I don't know.
I had 2 16 SCU containers, and the number that showed up on the screen said 16K. So they were selling for 500 each. Per SCU. And when you look at what they're doing with their economy, at least with in relation to cargo missions, they're there. They're
Yeah.
in line with that, I think. But it's just some of the other parts of the game are not, right? Because yesterday I did like RMC trading in 324 or RMC salvaging in 324. And oh, I put the link for this video, guys, in the both YouTube chat and Twitch chat. This is Captain Foxy Loxy's like first 324 Blockade Runner experience. So
So
just to have a background video, if I try to play mine on my hard drive, it's all choppy. So there you go.
So when I, just looking at Blockade Runner from like a mechanical point of view, within half an hour, you are experiencing gameplay mechanically, right? Not actual piracy or whatever, but you're literally doing what pirates do within
Yeah.
30 minutes. You're
Yeah.
you're experiencing that full gameplay loop of finding targets, killing them, soft
Exactly.
deathing them, or distorting them, whatever, and then you're moving boxes and you're studying those boxes.
It's
Which I
awesome.
think it's very cool. It's very, very cool. So I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I mean, what have you always said
but
about that experience? It's the most like cohesive, and
yeah,
it
it
has
brings
everything.
it's one of the only things that brings everything together, right? It's like
Exactly.
it touches on so many features of the game, which everything else is kind of, and they've said themselves, right? So like, oh, we've introduced copions. Yeah, here's copions, and then they'll go and say, okay, cool, copions are amazing. We've got this new tech, okay, server stability depending. They've got this amazing tech to handle this type of entity, and it's this new type of thing that they're calling Voids or whatever, and that's great, cool. It's in the game.
Yeah.
But then they'll go and say, okay, cool, we realize that this thing exists in complete isolation of every other feature in the game. You're never going to, now we start seeing some stuff with the Pyro preview type stuff that we've been seeing. And it's like, oh, cool, this asteroid base is going to have copions on it, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
right? So,
We're
starting to see some kind of crossover.
For sure. And they're doing tiny little bits of like, I think we got debated a little bit at CitizenCon last year, unfortunately, but like there was a lot of talk about progression, reputation, crafting, this, that, the other thing. And if you look, I don't know if this is a 324 thing. I don't think it is. I think in 324 they fixed a lot of the tooltips. If you go to a cave or honestly, if you go to any outpost and open a container, there's a lot of that cave, like the things you would find in caves in those containers. But the tooltips now, you can read the entire description. And every description has a crafting use for every single item.
Yeah.
All of them do.
Something about like nano something. I remember reading something about that.
On the Copians, it was like you can make bone structure with it. There's like even the poop from the caves had some crafting purpose. Now everything does. So that is interesting, right? But
I mean, that immediately makes me think like
what these piracy experiences like
sure.
are doing yet.
Yeah, but
it just shows like their intention.
To have a strong puff of Hopian, like that's the kind of thing that makes me think, okay, cool, you're a what's that ship? The Endeavor. You're an Endeavor enjoyer, and you're setting up for like a long-term sort of gameplay loop where you're going to take your Endeavor, you're going to land on a planet where there's like a dense Copion environment, and maybe for like your next 2 days, that's your gameplay.
Farming.
You're gonna chill, and you're just gonna farm copions, and you're gonna get that, a threshold of that particular resource, because you're gonna, plug it into whatever system on your ship and turn it down into that base component. Then you're gonna go somewhere else, and now you're the guy with all the base mats, because you've dedicated that, like, and this is like your low tier gameplay for this resource gathering or something, and then that will lead on to the crafters, and you'll get something like Eve eventually. Hopefully, we'll see.
It's even as simple as, in order to respawn at these, your Ursa, your C8R or whatever, that you'll need Copion Horn to build the bone structure of your clone, and so on and so forth, right? So, and it could be as simple as, you need 1 or 2 of each to be able to create a character. And that's, we'll just have to see if that's what they do or that's what they want to do. But yeah, I mean, if you were to give a grade to 324 so far, it's hard. It's 323.2. It isn't, for me, it isn't worthy of a 324, but it's also such a big piece of my puzzle of what I enjoy. So I'm enjoying it.
Is it fair to give it a grading at wave 1? Like I'm a realist, right? To a degree.
It's not.
How much drastic change are we going to see between wave 1 and live? Like, this is it, right? This is how things are going to work, just less buggy, hopefully, right? Touch wood.
Yeah.
So I guess you can kind of look at it that way and kind of give it a grading. In terms of stability and stuff like that, I haven't been able to go out and do stuff properly in this patch so far. Like I've had one
Yeah.
or two okay-ish experiences. I mean, it's a solid what 6.5 out of 10, I guess.
Okay.
Like it needs time in the oven, kind of a thing. It's
Yeah.
very buggy. I think the biggest thing, and this is what I made an entire video about, was just the the interactions with the kiosks now, right? It's like how you're equipping your character and finding out, okay, what is actually the most efficient way? Because I mean, sooner than later, we're going to be in a piracy situation or a jump town situation where you die and you want to get reset as fast as possible. What is the optimal flow to do this, right? And not even what is our optimal flows as people playing the game, trying to figure out the best way to do things. What is CIG's ultimate intended
Goal.
experience for
Yeah.
this type of thing, right? Like simply just equipping your character. It's kind of it's all over the place, right? It's not perfect. It works, but it's not perfect. And then I think there was a video recently by a guy named Core Gameplay who was
He's
like, okay, cool.
awesome.
What is the experience of looting bunkers now? If you want to do bulk looting, what is this experience? And I can't sit here and say, yes, this is what CIG intend this experience to be like, right? It's like
It's horrible.
jankily putting things off and they're appearing and physics exploding all over the place. And there's many ways to skin the cat, right? You can strip down naked, drag all that stuff into the box, then loot that and equip everything, then strip down. There's easier ways to do it. But again, what is the intended experience, right? And we see a lot of sneak preview type stuff where you've got all the armor in what do you call them, like the armor cases, the armor drawers and stuff like this, right? And that the fact that these little green boxes are temporary, right?
Yeah.
So who knows what it's actually going to be like one day. So yeah.
Yeah, we got a little sneak peek of the armors at the pyro hat, like our base, the
Yeah.
base building thing, like their intention. We got to see a little bit of it.
Yeah,
The suit
armor
lockers
closets,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm kind of with you. For me, it's still 323.2, but but cargo missions are. I'm dying for what they build into. Of course, I'm always looking for what's next, but I really have enjoyed, and with Blockade Runner included, everything around the mission side of the flow of like, all right, I accept this mission, I go to this place, I grab these boxes, but I also know that there's a number of other missions that are near this place or at this location and go to the same place that I want to go. So how efficient and fun can I make this for myself? Like how many missions can I take at once, and can I get this done quickly and all that stuff? I find that to be super fun. The Blockade Runner
Mm.
flow worked perfectly, right? I knew we were going to go. We need to soft death these enemies. They gave me a marker. I went to them. It just worked, right? And then what was even better is if I had to jump away or run away, the markers were there for me again. And so this is just knowing the
Oh,
background of Elliot telling me how it worked. Was the markers don't go away until all the boxes are looted and out of there. So
okay,
you can
interesting.
soft death a big ship, which unfortunately we can't get to. So we could talk a little bit about that. Is Blockade Runner doesn't work. So what you could drop up, I guess the first person to drop off boxes is the only person to drop off boxes. So it starts off in there will be small ships with around maybe 30, 40 SCU of cargo on them. You need to deliver 15,000 SCU of cargo to finish
Yeah.
this mission, right? It's a lot of cargo.
Our servers, we saw one with about 600 and one with about 300. So people were able to do this.
Yep.
I sure as
I
hell
had
wasn't.
775.
There you
I
go. And now,
I
at
wasn't
what
able to
did you think
either.
that was the threshold to start seeing? Did you see medium markers or did you
Yes.
only see small?
So I was on
So,
medium markers, and
okay,
there
so we
were
theorize that as it progresses, you start seeing bigger ships,
yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
And Elliot kind of pointed that out, that down the
Okay.
line, the last I'm assuming it's after medium, but whatever the last thing is you need a
Hull.
big ship and you need protection. That's what they said.
Okay.
So we'll see how
Interesting.
the AI perform. But how do you
It was weird for
feel?
us. Yeah, yeah.
Go
So
ahead,
carry on.
and then I'll ask this
I,
question.
I was I was gonna say, dude, you said how do I feel? And the thought just lost my
You
brain. So
said
you
for
carry on.
us. Does that
Um,
does that bring it back?
I think I was going to say something about like we went from from small ships to medium, and then I remember saying like, "Oh man, these mediums are now freelancers. Like that's so much
That's
bigger
what
than
I
a
had.
cutlass."
Yeah.
I just thought,
But
that's a bit
they
funny,
had
but
32 SU containers in the
yeah,
freelancer.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it kind of made it a little bit different. But
yeah.
that's where my experience stopped as well, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But what I was going to ask is, how do you feel that Nine Tails Lockdown was? This is the spiritual successor to Nine Tails Lockdown. Nine Tails
Yeah.
Lockdown was a PvP event. This is not a PvP event. You can, but it is not at all. How do you feel about that change to it? I feel like some people are going to be pissed, but it's
So
there
this
is an
felt,
unlawful side of the mission. So
mhm. And I think there should be, to be honest. But I mean,
yeah.
that's my perspective. But it's weird because we were like, okay, how do we do this illegally? And we
Hmm.
start, um, what's the word? Ambushing people while they're doing the thing, and we're just capitalizing on the progress that they've made. Now we've just got to kind of quickly, move the boxes and off we go. Which is, I mean, it's a dick thing to do, right?
Can I cut you off? Do
But
you when you take
yeah.
the did were you able to get the unlawful mission or no?
So Fair was able to get the unlawful mission.
And he held it.
I need to check with him if it was a priority mission or just the same unverified delivery mission that
Yeah.
you saw.
Yeah.
Because he got a crime stat 3 or crime stat 2 eventually, and he just said, "Cool, I'm crime stat. I can get the illegal version of the mission now." And we're like, "Oh, cool, this is exciting." And then it
Nice.
told him to go sell at Reclamation Disposal Orinth on Hurston, which is like
Okay.
Hurston's scrapyard, right? That's Hurston's Brios. We went there and we could not sell the boxes for the life of us. We tried everything. We tried calling the elevator, sending it down, chatting to the kiosk. I even tried like sending the elevator down, and while it's going down, throw the cargo onto it to see if it would like register it. Like we tried absolutely everything. It would not work. But then the funny thing is, like from a design perspective, you've got people who are going to interrupt the other player's gameplay, right? And I mean, as horrible as it is that we do this piracy stuff, I still want the game to be fair and balanced, right? I don't want every piracy encounter to be a cakewalk. I want to, we want to have gameplay for our loot, right? And it's funny because everything is within the vicinity of Hurston or within the vicinity of Everest Harbor, but you're going out of Comaray range, and that's where players might jack you for your Zeta Prolonide to go and sell it illegally.
Hmm.
But there's no Comarays there, so you're not pressing charges against any of the guys who are being asshat pirates and stealing from the lawful players. So I don't know how you would make this make more sense in terms of a good and an unlawful and a lawful player perspective who both want to just do the same event but at opposing ends, right? So I just thought
So
that was a bit of an oversight.
yeah, the reason I asked all that, and Nerve, one of your guys, is letting us know that it was a priority unverified mission, not the one that I had.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's why they were probably able to hold it, and mine just fails instantly and
So did you just
disappears.
have a random delivery mission for Zeta Prolonite,
Yes.
coincidentally?
Yes.
Okay. And it
So
still didn't work.
yeah, and the next question that I asked that I thought is super important is, when you do take that priority unverified mission, can you see the locations of the Zeta Prolonide? Because
So Fair
that's
could not. He said he
yeah,
couldn't
that's good.
see. So we were like, okay, cool. So now you've got to have some guys who are playing good, but they're actually
Hmm.
pirates who are just getting targets for the guys who are
Yeah.
bad. But I feel like it's a bit rough for the lawful players because you've got guys in uncomrade space who are never going to get crime stats who are ruining your intended gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Ruin is a strong word. Space
Run
is a
strong.
dangerous place from up. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It they will you're speaking for them. Like, they will feel like their experience was ruined.
Yeah,
Well, you
yeah,
will
sure.
feel like your experience was enhanced. So
Because emergent, bro.
there's winners and losers in life, guys, and some people, unfortunately, you're going to be the loser sometimes. I've definitely been
I
on
mean,
that side plenty of times.
I actually had an epic boarding thing. Like there was a constellation Andromeda that had just finished loading a bunch of Zeta Prolonide, and I was able to board through the top. After he nearly like squashed me like a bug, I was able to board. And then I'm running around. So I took out the pilot. I was actually hiding in the back where the Merlin goes.
Yeah.
And this dude like runs in, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then I shot him or whatever. and then the other guy, he raised the cargo elevator, so he's in between all the Zeta Prolonide running around there, and I'm at the top shooting down. And we had this like epic little firefight, man. It was great. It was really
Nice.
cool.
Nice. That's cool. But yeah, so it's like I it can be a PvP event, but it was the previous one, like it pitted two sides against each other. Now it's like
Mm.
it's more of the if you wanna, you can. But
My ex-
yeah,
Ninetales Lockdown,
I mean it was
I
the
have a vague
worst.
memory
It
of
was
going
horrible.
around in a terrapin scanning targets for like days and days and days.
I think we
Am I
thought
thinking of
we
the
were
right event?
supposed. I think we were supposed to do like they made it seem like we were supposed to do that, but there were NPC terrapins that you had. Like if
Yeah.
you were on the unlawful side, you had to take them out. The event was so
And then
bad.
the medical supplies went up in price, which was a good thing. That was cool. And then
Yeah,
what ended up happening is I remember those the early days of our org, the last time that event ran or the last time we participated, the meta or whatever was to like
stock
exploit
up.
people. So they'd go and that people would go and buy medical supplies, and then one of our guys would just run into the elevator and go up and be like, "What are you gonna do now, buddy? Send me the money."
And the other thing about that event, and even with Jumptown, is sometimes like people will stock up on like maze or
Yes,
medical
I did that.
supplies and then
Yes,
sell after.
yes.
So
So,
it's
I mean,
like
that's, is this a coincidental glitch or is this intended gameplay, right? It's like, cool, you go around doing bounties and you stock up on all the big, 32 SU maze.
yeah,
Jamtown rolls around, you go and sell that and you make stupid money,
yeah,
right? Is that intentional? Is this
no,
an oversight?
yes,
And it's interesting, but
I think
it
so.
is kind of cool that you start having like normal assets and normal gameplay and normal trading gameplay
Yeah,
start to interact with an event, right?
yeah.
So, I mean,
I mean to bring it
and there are infinite use cases like this.
for sure, and to bring it back to 324, I unfortunately screwed myself over, and now sadly I don't recommend it. Oh, Elliot said it is intentional, and they want it. So it makes the player
That's
feel
interesting.
smart. Okay, fair. I think it kills the economy though. So your economy team, do they like that? I don't know. But the experience that I was having yesterday was so cool until I ruined it for myself. Took out a vulture and went out and just salvaged panels. But what was different about this experience is what did you do in 323 or earlier when you were full? You had to go land and you had to go sell, right? So you had to spend, all right, now I get on transit and I got to go to the TDD and all this stuff. Guess how many times I have to go to the TDD now? Once a week, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
because
like,
you just stock up,
yeah, I'm going around the yellow asteroid belt, farming
That's
panels,
cool.
going to Grim, dropping off, going right back out and doing what I enjoy, which
Yeah.
is
I mean,
mining,
this is
salvaging, that stuff. And then one trade run.
this
Boom.
makes sorry.
No, yeah,
Yeah, and I
that's
mean
it.
this makes sense from like if the economy ever does like organically fluctuate, it's like cool. I'm just going to hold on to all this RMC. I'm going to wait
Yep.
for a rainy day, and then I'm going to sell it all, and I'm going to make 50% more than I would have beforehand. Right?
Yeah.
This is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a possibility in the future, but in the present, it's you can be just more efficient with what you're
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
which is
You can
cool.
literally plan out. Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing that I screwed up, and I'm so sad, dude. I am so sad to report this, guys. I got 49 SCU of RMC, and then I put them in 8 SCU openable containers. I put them on my ship. I flew all the way to ArcCorp from Grimhex, and I got to the station. I went to open the containers, and there was maybe one SCU of RMC in each one.
Oh, because of the select all move thing, or what?
I didn't even select all. Maybe I did select. No, I didn't even select all and move. I don't know what happened.
Oof. Yeah.
I moved like a few at a time, or I select 8 and I moved them. I don't know what happened, but I lost everything. So what I was thinking was like, all right, I'm gonna be even smarter, and instead of moving 49 times a 1 SU box because I have a vulture, I was gonna move 3 or 4 boxes. That's it. I was gonna fill up 8 at a time, boom, 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 and then go ahead and I'm done. Or it was like 5 boxes, obviously 40 times 8, and then I had some spares left over, and it didn't work out for me. So
Yeah.
bugs, hopefully,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
experience is again what kind of makes 324 bring Star Citizen hopefully forward if they fix those things. If they don't,
I mean,
we're still at square
your
one.
negative experience sounded better than my experience. Like the first, just testing out the cargo purchasing thing. I went down to like an outpost, like an SM0 or whatever, and I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna buy all these like 32 SEUs.
Yep.
and then none of them can even come out of the elevator. They don't fit.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's it's been so random. It's been brutal. All right, I have to ask you a question. Pick a number between 1 and 3.
okay. Do I tell you the number?
Yeah.
3.
Perfect. Okay. I just had to pick there were 3 people in the green room and we only have time for 3 callers. And there were only 2 that were laid out. So
I'm so sorry.
yeah,
Wow.
the other people, we won't have time for you today. Sorry. Voidy, you can send your hate threads to Voidy, Void Dude at
Yeah.
Twitter or whatever.
Yeah. Tweet me, bro.
Yeah.
I'll totally look at it.
So let's bring the conversation over to what happened this week a little bit. What did you I think you haven't caught up with SCL yet, or just a little bit, but did you see the Fire
about halfway.
episode?
Yeah, I've watched the Fire stuff. That's
What do you think about
my
that?
first thought. My first thought. I mean, it looks great. I love the, and this is the thing. I think it's a visual downgrade from what we've seen very far in the past, right? We've seen some sneak peeky Fire type stuff where it was more like experimental, VFX, technical, trial and error type of stuff. This, I think, looks great. It looks better than I thought. Like if I saw this in game today, I'd be like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as good as some of the earlier stuff that we've seen, and I'm totally okay with that, man. I just want this. And what I really enjoyed about this was how he was the one guy, I think was a French guy, and he was talking about the data, how intense this is data wise, and how they're trying to keep it performant and stuff like this. And
Yeah.
I hope that this starts allowing people to realize, like, absolutely everything that you're doing in this game is killing the servers, right? And
Yeah.
we want this, we want server meshing to come along and magically fix all this, right? And theoretically it does. I'm not a server engineer. I don't know the ins and outs, but hearing them say stuff like this grounds it a bit, and it makes me go, okay, cool. So they're putting all this effort in. They must have some kind of idea that server meshing is, to some degree, some kind of silver bullet that will make our experience better, right? That's where my brain went.
Yeah,
and then my brain also went to, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even when the Copians first came in, the guy Zach, who dealt with the AI, kept saying server meshing can't come soon enough. So little things that they seem to know that these will solve certain problems at the very least, right? So
Elliot's sitting in your chat. He's got this massive commit of the best missions, the best gameplay anybody's ever considered or conceived in their lifetimes, and he's just waiting to press the commit button as soon as server meshing comes online.
Yeah, I wish.
Right, Elliot.
I wish.
The other thing I thought that was cool with this, because they've spoken about radioactive materials and stuff like this in the past, where you could literally use this to sabotage people's ships, and now they used a Pico on Fire as an example where,
oh my god,
this
so
Pico,
cool.
Yeah, it has the fire property on it. Now you can transfer fire, right? My immediate thought was okay, cool. If I take a Pico that has the fire debuff on it, right? It is currently on fire. I store it in a box. Will that indefinitely persist the fire state? And then you can take out, essentially store and who knows how it's going to work when it gets into our hands. But now maybe they'll not allow us to do that. I should have kept my mouth shut. But this kind of sabotaging type stuff becomes, a thing. And I think that's, again, the creative possibilities that this starts to allow for is, we haven't even thought of everything that we could start doing, right? It's very exciting.
Were you one of the seemingly, I can't believe it, many people that looked at how quickly the fire was spreading and was like, oh no? Or were you one of the people that were like, oh, this was obviously for a video to show off what it could do?
I've watched enough, around the verses and stuff like this, where they, you see them take a pistol and test the damage states on ships and blow off wings and stuff like this with a pistol. So I just assumed it was that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I would go against you on that, and they're showcasing this to thousands of people, and they've got a guy busy shooting the pistol. I kind of wouldn't be surprised that people would think that kind of shit would just start the fire. I was thinking, okay, the laser obviously heats it up to a point that this, special space material just, spontaneously combusts. Maybe there's a law reason. I don't know. I think people can find the justifications or whatever. But I would be less harsh on those guys. But yeah.
Yeah, no, like Jared had to make a clarification on SCL about it. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure, for sure. Yeah,
It
I
was
mean, obviously
crazy
you're
to
going to
me.
get like 1,000 Spectrum posts spun up all at once, being like, "What the hell
They
are you guys
fired 4
doing?"
shots and the wall caught on fire. Like, come on.
I mean, what should a railgun do internally now? This is exciting stuff, dude.
Oh,
Like, if
true.
you've got more heavy arms type stuff doing, like again, man, it feels like every update is just more foundation for like this game that could be a good game one day, right? And
Yeah,
it excites me.
it excites me and I hate it all at the same time.
Yeah.
I wish the foundation would come first and then you added these cool elements to it. That's what the sheer
Mhm.
what it the last sentence you said is 2024. It is so many cool features that if they ever decide to do the basics, they have a sick game on their hands.
Yeah.
Sick game
I
on
mean,
their hands.
this is all I want, man. I want them to give players valid reasons to jump into the game on a
Yep.
regular basis, right? And
Yep.
like, what does this even look like? It's more complicated than we think, you know?
Of course. Yeah, this is not easy for them to do. No one's claiming that.
Yeah.
Like but I'm not asking, and I never asked for them to make fire. I asked for them to,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, add some fucking characteristics to some armor, man. So when I loot it, I get excited. I'm not asking for
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean? Then when you do the
Yeah.
fire stuff, it's cool.
Yeah. Have you gone hunting for night vision scopes yet?
Not yet, but because unfortunately, like I played the first Evo patch, I experienced them as they are already, so it's not something that
Okay.
I've been super like. My hunt
Have you
was
found them in the PU, or did you just get them in Arena Commando?
well, they were in Arena Commander, so that was the only place that I've seen them. But I know that just go to distro centers. That's where they probably will be.
Yeah, because I mean, I found a low light version of a standard 2x scope,
Yep.
and I could not enable the night vision feature. I went to the options, and there's like a broken character string for a definition of like ADS interaction or something like this. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my god, this is how I'm going to be able to turn on night vision. This is insane. And then I
I
pressed
forgot
the
what
button.
button you
I had to
press.
bind it to like it was bound to like shift or something. So it
Yeah.
was duplicate bound with hold breath. So
Yeah.
then I quickly went and like bound it to Z. So excited, I'm going to get night vision. I press the Z button, and it zooms in. This it plays a sound effect, and it goes, bzz, and then it zooms in slightly more. And then you can toggle that button, and there's like a secondary zoom thing. I'm gonna make a video, man, like little funny things that I found in
Okay.
3.24.
I experienced it how
Weird.
it's supposed to work. And
Oh,
it was an
really?
Evo, yeah, but it was just an Evo, so we couldn't show them. I haven't experienced it in Wave
Yeah.
1 how it's supposed to work. And yeah, you just press shift, and it just the light, you hear a sound, and the light turns on, the light turns off. That's it. And like
The light is in like the night vision scope turns green and bright.
correct. And it's
Okay.
light enhancement. So anywhere there's
Hmm.
light, it enhances that light. If it is pitch black, it doesn't work. And
Okay.
I hid in I'm sure you've played some Star Marine. You know, well yeah, we've definitely played against each other a few times. The Station Damien. You know the main
Mhm.
room in the center, and then
Yeah.
you go to the back towards where you have to go up the stairs and they wrap around up on the
Yeah.
there's like balcony. So there's a corner right before you go behind that wall that blocks the stairway. If you go to the right side, there's a corner that's like pretty dark and you can't see me as a character if I'm crouched in that
Interesting.
corner. But if you have the light enhancement and wave by it, you see me. And it was like, ooh, this is cool, man. Like it was some
Okay.
cool shit. And then even the laser beams and the bullet traces, you see them going through and they brighten everything up. We flashlighted into it and it blinds you. It was sick. Yeah. So
Awesome. Man, that
I
sounds
think
great. Holy shit.
if they don't work as intended in the game now, I saw them definitely how they're intended, and I like a lot.
Mm.
But I know that their goal was to be
As
like they're hard to find, they're rare because they're very powerful because you can turn the
as I
light
mean, you
off.
say rare, bro, but should this be grand prize behind the final door levels of rarity, or is
No.
I mean, dude, that would be a little bit disappointing, right?
Yeah, not at all. That would be incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're setting us up for disappointment the way they were cheeky on that episode about it. Like, oh, we're not going to tell you.
At
But
the end
you're
of the
really
one I
gonna
see when
like
they spoke
it.
about
Like,
that, Jared used the word progression and pyro. at the end of that ISC, and I was like, "Oh my god, is this got some like is 4.0 going to be bigger than we thought?" And I mean, I'm a believer, man. I'm a hype optimist. So
I
who
think they're
knows?
gonna
We'll see.
try. I mean, 323 and 324, like these were supposed to be huge, huge, huge epic patches, right? And did they live up to your expectations of what you had set or what they had set initially?
What from Citizen Control now?
Just when they started talking about 323, like, you know, what or even right before it came out. I don't know how long
You
you've
know,
been in Evo for, but the like, you know, before the Evo
if
patches came out and people started talking about what we actually were getting.
yeah, I mean, this was my first time actually doing Evo things.
Okay.
Like I missed the previous one, so I was able to jump in and not load hangars, not load ships, not do any of the stuff that you're supposed to do. And I mean, it was very rough going.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of am I content with what we've got so far?
Well, I guess the question
Um,
is if you're like when you're going, hey, is 4.0, I think 4.0, I'm a believer, it's going to be great. Were you a believer with 323?
323 for me was just the excitement. The thing that I cared most about was that the light fighter meta would come to an end. More ships became more viable. And you
Yeah,
can arguably look at that and say, okay, well, then the game's just becoming more pay to win because my $75 Gladius is no longer going to compete against the, $600, whatever the fuck ship, Um, and I love that, even though I would agree Master Modes is not perfect. There's a lot of nuance that probably needs to be thought out and sort of, skill ceilings raised and all this type of thing.
for sure.
That's just balance and tweaking that'll come with time. But as it is now, this baseline Master Modes experience that we've got, for me personally, I'm not a sweaty dogfighter PvP boy. I,
Same.
I enjoy it. A lot of people like get upset with me in streams and stuff, and they say, "Oh, how can you enjoy this dog shit?" It's essentially just a race to get your cursor, your crosshair onto
DPS
the other guy,
race.
and then you win. It's a
You're
DPS
a
race.
turret.
But but a lot of the guys who are analyzing this stuff and going ham on the state of things, they're always thinking of it in like a not always a 1v1, but always like in a very arena commander mindset, or like, what is your average experience in the PU that you organically come across actually feel like? In master modes, I would argue that this is heightened, right? We come up against a variety more of different ships now, right? Like
Yeah.
I came up against a Connie and I was in a Cutlass and I got deleted. Um, and it's you'll have it, and I think it speaks nicely. It's actually proof for what they've said in the past, where your preparation matters more. So it's
Yep.
like, okay, cool guys, what are we going at now? Our piracy group is getting set up. Cool, I'll take a Corsair, you'll take an F7, and you'll take a Cutlass kind of a thing. And the bigger that gets, the more it's kind of, it's like playing Total War Warhammer, or like you've got your points based system. It's like, okay, cool,
Yep.
what are you going to bring? What am I going to bring? And
Yep.
that decision before the engagement even begins is what's made or broken the fight. Is this good gameplay? Is this bad gameplay? How narrow or how wide is the corridor by which you get to mess around within that, right? So it's like, oh no, I chose the F7A, you chose this ship, I automatically lose. Okay, bad example because that's a pay to win ship, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like cool, make preparation and fleet setup matter for an org or a group or
Yep.
whatever, but then allow the skill to enter in and kind of tilt the balance of the scales as the combat goes on with like smart decision making, or
Yeah.
I don't know what it is,
Like
but
I could give an
for me
Eve
it's
example
I'm
on this.
happy.
I can give a slight
Yeah.
Eve example. Yesterday I was playing and I was just trying to do a daily goal in the game, which was kill 25 NPCs or whatever, right? So I take my ship out that can do that, and boom, somebody came to kill me. So I thought, but the ship that they were in has no shot against me, none. And he
Hmm.
stood there because what basically there's like rules in our alliance or whatever. Like I'm in the biggest alliance in the game or whatever, right? Because they literally take anybody, so I'm in. And like what you do is if somebody comes that, because it's our space, if somebody comes that's there and they like tackle you and like basically use a mantis against you, you just press a couple buttons and it alerts a fleet that is nearby to let
That is
them know
so
to come
sick.
and defend you.
Players.
Yes, all real
Players.
players.
Wow, dude,
So,
that's insane.
but it's just like a chat. It's just an in-game chat. It's a simple thing,
Hmm.
and it's all player. Like the players figured out how to do this essentially, and what that person was doing is he knew he couldn't kill me, so I stood there and stared at him, and he stood there and stared at me, and what he was hoping I would do is call other people so he can pull one of them away
shit.
and kill them because he knew he couldn't kill me. And it's like, is that cat and mouse? Is that rock, paper, scissors something that we want in our game? It's certainly better than just flying the Gladius and winning, you know?
But
so
then again, man, imagine somebody in
there's no
global chat saying,
skill.
help, I'm being pirated. Help, I'm being pirated. Come help
Yep.
me. And then somebody actually comes to help, right? Like,
Exactly.
oh, but that's bait. Now you're getting pirated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like players will find ways. There's
Yep.
always layers, right? And as metas, not gameplay metas, but like the overall way people play the game meta evolves in Star Citizen, we'll probably start seeing stuff like this to that degree of you know, depth or whatever, who knows? But yeah, I mean, we just need tools and stuff like this. You know,
have the
it's
tools.
such an easy conversation.
We have them
kind
right
of,
now.
right? We want better org tools. We want better, you know, because I
that
remember
specific
seeing
tool we have though. Have you ever made like an in-game chat that you can invite people to, no matter what
Oh, yeah,
server they're
100%.
on? They see your
Sometimes
chat.
it works, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it worked fairly consistently, maybe in like 320, let's say, and
Yeah,
it was amazing. So like, I mean, we had a chat between Cutlet's group and our group, and no matter what server we were on, it was like,
Yeah.
got
You
a
could always
piracy
just
hit, gold here,
yeah
at
going
me,
on.
boom. It
Yeah,
was fucking sick. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty
it's
cool.
it like we have them. It's just they break, or again, like, you know, the common theme on twitch.tv/SaltEMike is, I mean, there's no reason to be doing any of this shit, so it doesn't matter, right?
And I
If
mean,
that guy
it's
kills
a
me, I lose
population.
millions.
Yeah. And it's a population density thing as well, right? It's like we're sitting here with our city, you know, 100 servers, and it's like, cool, what are you really gonna do, kind of a thing. But
Yeah.
have you ever been can flipped in Eve yet?
What's can flipped? I don't even know. I'm still such a newbie.
So apparently that's a parts, dude. So when you're busy like mining ore or something like that, you can't carry it all at once. So you basically fill these cans and then drop the
Oh,
cans, and
I
then
don't do
fill up
that.
and then drop a can. And then some like absolute asshole, it's like one of the worst degenerate things you can do is you just fly past this miner and grab the cans and fly off.
That's awesome. No, like there's I think because people did that, they created a ship that is like really, really, really expensive, and it allows you to compress ore on your ship.
Okay.
So they put out a boost, and you can compress ore on your ship, so you can hold like 100 or 200 times as much ore in your ship as long as it's compressed. Yeah, but they need that. Like it's a 30 bill, or I think it's like an 8 billion credit ship. It's called like a Rorqual or something like that. And Orca can do it as well. Okay, yeah, I don't know. There's a few ships that can do it, but yeah, it's called compression. I hope we get something like this in mining. By the way, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, because now we're just talking about like components, or you know, things, you know, just pure gameplay mechanic things, right? Don't
right?
You know, throw fidelity out the window and just give options, right? Give various modules, whatever the fuck you want to call them, and make them do cool things, right?
Exactly. Start throwing fire out the window, and like, I love it. It's awesome. It's going to be cool. I love that it's going to play a role in engineering and all that stuff. I'm not hating on fire. And the people who make fire do not make the gameplay, right? So I'm very much aware of this. But the fact that it's every year it's the same shit, and then the stuff that we heard at CitizenCon, I don't know if some of the things, I know you were super hyped about finding the legendary armor not too long ago, right? The legendary armor, oh my God, I can carry a few more med pens and ammo. When I have backpack
and I think
reloading,
that was a bug, dude. That was a bug.
And that was a bug on top of it? Like,
this is your patch note saying that they fixed the legendary armor.
Like, come on. Yeah, that's true. Just like a couple days ago, right? Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, come on, guys. They talked such a huge game at CitizenCon about the armors. I said it every day after CitizenCon. The thing that I was super hyper focused on were these armors when they come in the game. How do they differentiate from the way we had been doing things for years? And they didn't.
Even if it's a simple thing like,
they weren't even armor. They were clothing.
retain the speed of medium armor, but get heavy armor protection. Something even as simple as that would be pretty sick, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that
I don't
would be
know.
like this. I think they're starting to though, and it's been more Zach
Mm.
on the and team. I don't know. I don't think it's just one person, but the FPS side of things. You put a scope on your gun, your ADS speed goes down. Like just
Yeah.
the
You can see percentages now in the tooltips.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So the give and take needs to start
Mm.
happening, but it can't just be medium armor, light armor, heavy armor. I want to
Yeah.
go for Duster's armor for a reason. What are those reasons? Is it does it do I hey, do I lose water slower because I'm,
Yeah,
a
because you're like
Daymar
a Fremen from
enjoyer?
Dune. Yeah,
Exactly. That
100%,
kind
man.
of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like just
Now you're thinking, guys, take notes. This is good stuff.
I've been thinking. That's all I do is it's my most like I know everyone's like he doesn't play the game or whatever because I don't want to play the current game. I want to play the game that I have in my head, I guess, or they have in theirs. And it's those are the things that I die for.
No,
But yeah,
100%, man.
anything else on your mind on that or no?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've always kind of thought about it as I think we might have had this discussion before. I think I might have called in,
Yep.
and just talking about like what does, and I don't want to get too. I know this might be too off the rails.
Go after. I mean, again, today's show
How
doesn't
do you
have.
actually progress in this game, right? Like
Yeah.
where everybody has their ships, everybody has everything they could ever need. Like, how do you actually start making progress? How do you actually start making death scary? How do you start making money worth something?
I hope
Like
we lose
credits in
our
game. How do
ships.
you insane money sinks? And I mean, I honestly think just off face value, it's like cool. Don't just make your claim timers longer. So like, oh my god, it's going to take me a week to get my 890 jump back, right? On the upper end of the spectrum of what's
Yeah.
possible here. Um, but is it components? Is it like cool? Your stock ship is basically ass. That means you're level 1 in an MMO and you're playing against level 100 guys who can one shot you, and none of those components are available out of game. Is
Mhm.
this the type of thing that we start looking at to actually make the game a game, right? Like, I don't know. There's so many avenues and stuff like this. Or is it like simply gating progression with reputation or what was it? Like certain components, like, oh cool, there's this massive purple nebula in Pyro, and this is where the end game is. This is this is where you want to funnel players to. This is where the good shit is at, right? Whatever the
Yeah.
good shit is. But you can't go into the purple nebula unless you have this specific type of module, and then either players need to create it or there's a whole quest chain to go down. Who knows? But how do we start seeing this really taking place in Star Citizen? And I'm not saying that everybody at CIG is tone deaf, but it certainly does feel like sometimes they're surprised or they don't quite realize that this is how players play the game, right? That people do things like this.
Sorry.
Cutlet will camp an armistice zone easy hab because the
Yep.
armistice zone is gone. You know what I mean? Like players do these things. Players are the worst, right? And it feels like they don't often get this or are surprised by our behavior. And this always kind of makes me go, is there a degree of naivety? I'm not trying to be harsh or mean or anything like that. I'm just saying that it can sometimes come across as a bit strange. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I just think I feel like it's like they're still unsure of what they want to do, or it's really a
Mm.
challenge. Like what you have to ask yourself is, there's a few games that we talked about today, right? Daisy was one, Eve was another, and like general MMOs. Like if you think of like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, when you die, you don't lose the legendary armor that you gathered, and
Mm.
stuff like that. So they have to choose what the balance of like Daisy, you die, you have nothing, you're back at the beach, to World of Warcraft, like what happens when you die, like you lose a little bit of time and you try again. And right now we're you lose time and try again, but when you add crafting and all these things to this puzzle, are you going to be Elite Dangerous then? Where it's like, okay, yes, there's all these things you can do, but let's put it behind this insane grind, and then people don't enjoy that as much. So they have to
Mm.
strike that perfect balance, which will be a challenge. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I think and this whole idea of, is are players always going to be hostile to one another, right? Like what, and it always was. I feel like I've had this conversation in my mind like a million times, right? It's like, cool, how do you tackle this thing? Oh, reputation. Oh, how would this work? Oh, this feature, and it's always something that just isn't quite there yet, and you can't quite see how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, your DayZ leans very heavily and depends very heavily on its survival mechanics, right? And I've always said that, like, as soon as we had inventory in Star Citizen for the very first time, which was, many patches ago, I always felt like, oh my God, this is kind of like DayZ in space with infrastructure, but with far less survival mechanics, right?
Yeah.
And could Star Citizen do could a lot of these things just make sense right now if you upped the survival mechanics of the game, right? And I know it's never been marketed, it never will be a survival space game, but it's interesting to think, how the gameplay could evolve and how things could become more meaningful
Yeah.
when you start introducing these concepts and making things a little bit more dangerous, right? So,
Yeah. I think
it's clearly
everybody,
got to.
including themselves, recognize that what we have now is not it. Like they tried the idea of extending the timers and all that stuff to claim, and then everybody lost their mind. Um, but something's got to happen. I don't know what it is. Like somebody in chat was like, "Well, what are you asking for? Do you want this or do you want that?" I don't know what I'm asking for. I'm asking them to try something. I'm asking them to just go with it and not bow down to the community that wants everything all the time and wants everything easy and gets mad when you take their 2 million up every 5-minute credit run away, you
Oh my
know?
God, I can't duplicate RMC anymore. What is this
Yeah,
game? Like, I quit. It's
exactly.
insane.
So
I've,
let's
I've, I'll say it now. Like, I've never encountered such an entitled community in my life. The
it's
Star Citizen community
insane.
is so entitled,
Well, yeah, I mean, when you spend thousands of dollars on something, you're going to feel
And that's where it
entitled,
comes from.
probably.
That's the genesis of the entitlement, is the
Yeah,
fact that you've got, think about your average science fiction enjoyer, right? It's like you've got this, oh, Captain Picard on the Enterprise, or Luke Skywalker or Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon kind of a thing. And it's like you've got this attachment, right? This nostalgic attachment to the spaceship. And this is a beautiful thing, right? I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but they've sold that idea to millions of people,
yep.
and they'll just want to be that Luke Skywalker. They all just want to be that Captain Picard kind of a thing, right? And it's created a very interesting
A fleet
dynamic within the
captain.
community. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The Star Citizen community is the fucking best community, man. I love it to death, dude. It's awesome being a content creator in this space, I've got to say.
Yeah, it's just at times you're like, come on, guys. Really? Come
100%.
on. Come on. But all right, I think it's like now that I've been I got literally one guide spam to the point where I had to actually block him, telling me to get the callers, 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 like literally spamming. So bye. Don't be an asshole, but thank you. And yeah, we'll get to callers. So we talked about all the things that happened this week. In case you aren't familiar, answer the call. We do let a few people call into the show through Discord and kind of add to the conversation that we had today. So our first caller is High Lord. High Lord, hello.
Hello there.
Hi, Lord.
Hello there. How are we all doing?
Not Danger Vince. High Lord. Okay.
All good.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about today?
So going off the topic of 324 and looking forward to 4.0, which is going to be the next proper patch I think we're going to get this year. Like how the features that we're getting now with cargo moving and how we handle it will be potentially impacting 4.0. So some issues with what I've seen from videos, streams, etc. with the way cargo is now. There isn't any piracy incentives, unless I'm wrong, Voidy. Like, why would you pirate someone who's hauling the basic cargo hauling missions now in 3.24?
It's negative 75%.
I haven't personally been able to pirate anybody who's doing. You talk about contract cargo, so like actual
the contracted.
I don't think it's going to be worth shit, man. And basically, what's happened is that everybody has been spread out even more now. So like, instead of having a couple of hotspots to maybe get some piracy, now your chances are probably going to diminish. But I it's still wave one. We don't know what the landscape's really going to look like. Without any knowledge on the subject, I don't think that pirating contract cargo is going to be worth it in the slightest, right? But you're going to get the guys who are going to, they just enjoy the act of doing piracy in Star Citizen, and they will pirate these people regardless, right? in terms of the incentive, man, I don't think we've ever been incentivized to be pirates, right? It's like gameplay is the reward. I literally made it a mission during the 3.23 life cycle to like not make money with PvE, right? Because I think they've recently made a decent either a post or something. Salt, you can correct me. There's legacy elements and legacy missions that exist, and then there's the newer
Yeah, it was a
stuff that is like
post.
balanced around the new economy, right?
Mhm.
So your bounty hunter missions are always going to be the best way to make money. But I'm never going to do another PvE bounty hunting mission in my life because I did that, right? I
Yeah.
never want to do it again.
Yeah.
Unless it's really expanded upon and really it, evolves to a more sophisticated way, then sure, I'll try my hand at it again. But I will play what is lucrative and fun, right? And this is the funny thing, right? Piracy can be incredibly lucrative, right? I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm not the guy who's made the most money in one transaction ever. I would actually like to make this more public. 36 million credits in one transaction. Has anybody ever beaten that? I think we got to get a leaderboard somewhere.
I don't think I have. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
That's
but
not. I heisted a ship full of
piracy
weevil eggs once.
contract cargo. There is some somebody said 42 million. Okay. But do we
Who's that?
believe them? They're in Twitch chat. Fuck them. I don't believe them.
No, we don't believe them. No.
No.
Nope.
You got to prove it. Prove it. So you would take
Make
a
a video.
screenshot of that, wouldn't you? But the piracy chance that you have with these new missions is if you kill them, they fail the mission, and the rep penalty is pain.
Yeah.
So you can
So they're
definitely be like, "Yo, give me 20K, give me 30K, give me 100K, or I'll kill you."
Okay, so
So
there's more
exploiting becomes a thing. Yeah.
there's
Exploiting,
more
yeah, but
potential
exploiting,
to extortion.
yeah, extorting
Extortion,
is,
sorry, yeah.
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 It's, but that was the thing before you could take the cargo, and everyone liked when you could take the cargo. It's more physical, it's more involved. This is
Yeah.
back to the days where it's like, can you hear me? Did you read Twitch? Did you read the in-game chat? He didn't. All right. We kill him, and then they get mad. They read a Spectrum post, and it's like CIG's communication issues are the problem here, and not the pirate necessarily, not the trader necessarily, and it's hard to tell. So yeah, it's doable, but it's not. I think it's not what pirates came to love, right? Which is the physical, like, let me soft at this guy and take their entire cargo load and sell it, right?
It's just,
God.
it really feels like they have way more to lose, right? And I mean, this has always been the argument with piracy. It's like, okay, what are you risking? Oh, I'm risking my time being a pirate by hunting people. What
Yeah.
are they risking? Oh, they've either just dropped their entire fucking life savings into one haul, and now they really don't want to lose that rep. So, like, I don't know, man. I think CIG hate the average non-piracy player.
I think CIG hates piracy players because they make it so damn hard sometimes.
Yeah.
If there's a bug and it... Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, he's back in the queue. Okay, I'll grab him. Welcome back.
Sorry.
You there? Is Discord being weird? I've seen people popping in and out of chat today, so maybe it's being odd. I think we
My
hear you.
area's just had a power. Okay.
Power outage.
So,
Oh, welcome back.
yeah. Ooh, can you hear me now?
We do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what you missed,
So,
but we went on a nice rant
my
about
phone.
piracy. Oh, his phone's screwed.
Now.
Hi, Lord. When you hear this later, we're letting you go. Your phone internet is no good, so your power outage affected that as well, I guess.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we gotta let you go, buddy. I'm sorry. Talk to you soon. Rip. Damn.
Shame.
All right. Well, we'll go to our next caller then, and their name is Crace, and I guess I could fit in an extra one since High Lord was out. So, Crace, can you hear us?
What's up, Chris?
Do you have a power outage as well?
Nope, I just forgot what my push talk was.
Perfect. So we hear you. What do you want to talk about, man?
A couple of things for 324. One, I have made it my mission since it's gone wave 1 to try to play every single day and just slum through the bugs. And I have done 3 to 4 resets of my PTU to account to make it so that I have to kind of go through it again.
Okay. You gonna make it
I
to live?
A fellow masochist. Nice.
Yeah. You gonna enjoy this by the time it gets to live? I'm taking it easy. I'm trying not to burn myself out.
Yes, I will enjoy it live, mainly because the reason I'm doing it, like, I'm probably not going to do this the exact same way the next week, because a couple of other games that I like have updated recently, so that's going to draw my attention. So I'm not burning myself out. But the reason I did it was just to see, like, okay, and each time to give myself that new player, like, I'm starting this for the first time. What is this like for me?
Yeah.
And I feel bad because, like, everyone is so opinionated on this one, and I just don't mind it.
Yeah.
Like, the going to the item banks, I do not mind.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
You know why you don't
And
mind? It's because it's only slightly worse than the dog shit that you had before.
This is
so
fair.
this is the thing, right? For you, me, and Mike, it is fine, right? It is
Yeah.
just fine. But for 1,000 new players coming into the game, you know, it's a very friction-full experience, right? And every time somebody encounters this friction, that, I mean, dude, we live in a world with iPhones and like seamless, like, you know, people have become so lazy, and you know, technology must just work. And now you've got all this abrasive mechanics in something as simple as equipping your character. You know, for me, it's fine. I don't care either way. Whatever the final iteration is, I will just do what I need to do.
I'll just
right?
deal with it. Yeah.
I get concerned about, like, what is that true new player experience for somebody coming in and being like, bro, I don't even know how to put pants on, man. We're like, what am I doing in this game?
Yeah, like, what? I have to open a drawer? Like, why can't I just drag it to my character like every other game I played? Like, it's almost like they don't realize that people play other games and that they might come from those other games and go, this is bullshit.
Yeah, they might put up with
Right?
it like a couple of times, but then,
Yeah.
you know, one of those times might just be the straw on the camel's back. But I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're the dedicated guys who believe in the dream, and, you know, we're the suckers who just want to
Yeah.
play the space game. But
Yeah.
you know, in order for this game to work, right, we need a healthy, casual community of people who have fun on a regular basis and are incentivized to log into the game and load it up and play and have a good time.
Do you know what? Going back to that Eve example that I gave, I was playing with somebody else, and they said that maybe that guy didn't try and kill me because he looked at my account and knew I was new. So this is like a common thing there, where if you know that they're newish, instead of killing them and ruining their experience on day one, they will wait and let you build up so they can kill you later. Because the more people in their game, the healthier a game they have. Like, that is an actual mentality with Eve players.
Dude,
Yeah, I know.
We do. Sorry, carry on, Chris.
I actually have a couple of fun stories when I played with a group of my friends, and we would go to the relic sites when the relic sites were new, and I'd sit there in a Rook, which is a Caldari stealth ship.
Okay.
And I'd wait for somebody to come in, I'd uncloak, lock them up when they started their deal, and my friend would come in and bounce on them. And if they were a fairly new player, we'd either go like, hey, you know,
be careful.
Probably don't do this here.
Yeah.
Or we'd kill them, invite them to a private chat, and be like, hey, so what did you learn? And if they took it well, we'd buy them a new ship.
Nice. Yeah. Because, again, our game needs people to be healthy. It's an MMO.
Yeah.
And if we keep...
I say this, but I don't practice this, man. We've had encounters with people where, you know, we've got guys in the org who'll do player lookups, and we'll see, oh, backer since 2024, and then we'll hit them anyway. So you're saying I'm going to stop doing this, Mike?
It's probably a good idea to stop. Yeah.
or just take some and say, cool, you know, let you off the hook this time. But then they've got to use VoIP.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is they might be using VoIP. That's the problem, is like, you don't know if it's working or not. But like, oh, dude, today I VoIPed a guy and I watched him. And I'm like, no, no, no. How much money did you spend on spaceships? Just buy a cheap mic. No. He opened his Moby Glass to type to me. He didn't even type in the in-game chat. It's just like, oh my God, you're
Honestly.
wave 1. You're wave 1.
Yeah.
There's a chance you paid to be here right now.
Yeah. Or you're a veteran, which is even worse. He opened his Moby Glass. It was bad.
Yeah. But going into one of the other things I wanted to talk about is I'm a ship guy, and I said this the last time I was here. I'm a ship guy. I'm a components, ship weapons, and just ships in general guy.
I want to live on my
Where-
ship.
I want to live on my ship, but what I want to talk about is the starting hauling missions, because that has been my primary focus. Is like,
Okay.
I'm a new guy. I'm coming in. I want to do hauling.
Yep.
We do not have a good starter. And instantly, people are going to say, the Nomad exists. The Nomad is not a good hauling starter.
Why do you
For
feel
once,
Why do you feel that way? Because I disagree, but I will likely agree if you can argue me off that point.
it is a multi-role ship.
Okay. You want it to be dedicated hauler.
I want a $30, 600, 700,000.
Well, hold on. Stop at $30 because you're never getting a $30 ship again, brother.
I know.
Say
know.
60
but
and then it'll make sense. I just say 60 and we'll continue the conversation.
okay, $60 starter.
There we go.
It is basically a MPUV tractor
Okay.
with a extra 16 slot on the back and a tractor beam for loading, and that is it. And it's
Yeah, so
just
just
enough
long.
of a jump drive. It's literally the box fan.
Yeah.
We do not have that. And the main thing that I'd say detracts from the Nomad to me is that multi-role tag, and it has a living quarters. The reason that is a no for me is because what we don't have is a ship that is able to do multiple of the starting missions, that is cheap for somebody new to get into, either with, hey, this is going to be my entry-level ticket into the game, or I have an Aurora, I'm looking at maybe doing some cargo because, I'm in an org now and I want to be helpful with cargo. What's something cheap that I can buy?
Is the Hull A too expensive in your mind?
$1.5 million for for a low cost entry ship? Yes.
Yep.
The way that they marketed it is like, this is supposed to be, I've made my deal shuttling things for a while. This is my first dedicated truck. And I guess my problem with it is, how many trucks that you see going from warehouse to warehouse have sleeper cabs?
None, but why do we have to relate real life to our video game?
Because in a universe where you have faster than light travel and you're going from one station in a system to one station in a system, you don't always need to have a bed. So that space can be used for something, so you can create a minimalist design. That is why.
Yeah, okay, so it's just more
So
I
it
don't
could be a
like the way it
gameplay
looks.
implication there. So basically, are you talking about like an Argo cargo that's just really long?
Yeah, just an Argo cargo that's
a
slightly
space truck.
longer.
Yeah.
And it's just your short distance. I go from Bajini Point to Area 18. I go from Lorville to Everest Harbor. I go from Everest Harbor to Bajini Point, and that's it. Anything that's bigger than that kind of purview, you're going to want to have saved up for a Hull A. But that very first, this is my cargo ship. Because all the starting ships that say these are kind of like your starting entry-level cargo ships. 3 SCU, 6 SCU. Name one hauling mission that has that much cargo.
Those aren't your entry level. We have
That's what they're
designed
sold as.
spaceships we have designed spaceships before we designed the gameplay.
Yeah.
And you know, that is forever. I mean, I've always told my friends this. It's like I like Star Citizen. I like what I'm seeing. I am loving in this direction that it is currently going in. But also, it's such a beautiful game. Why can't I trade my gun to my friend? Just moments like that, and this is more of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The gun running experience has been ruined by so many stupid things for my org. It's driven me nuts.
Yeah.
It got to the point where we could only have one guy handle all of it, because if we ever tried to make it so other people can handle it, it was a mess. It's like this in an MMO. These are the things that should be the priority, not fire. But again,
Yeah,
fire.
but I mean,
fire's
on
different.
the point of the ship itself, like, I mean, there's no shortage of ships and new ships coming into the game, right? And I mean, I don't care about new ships as much as I used to, right? Like nowadays, you know, new ships come out and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. You can kind of you identify what role it's going to fill, and you're like, that's sweet. But
Did the Ironclad excite you the way it excited me, though? Because like piracy, I lost my mind with that one.
I like the idea of playing this game where there is a ton of variety in the ships that you get to experience when you're playing the game, and the what's it called again? The you just said it.
Nomad?
No, the big thing that just came
the
out.
Ironclad.
Yeah, the Ironclad. When the Ironclad came out, I was like, oh, this is sick. This is it. This is like the freight hauler, right?
Yeah.
This is like the you know, you could imagine a universe where there are, you know, but before you get your Hull C level type things, you've just got these things moving cargo back and forth, and they look so like gritty and sick. Like I love it, and practicality wise, it seems like it's going to be like S tier in terms of just accessing that. You know, when you're trying to get all that loot out of the one that you just pirated, it looks like it's going to be seamless. But I like the idea of just having the ship like that. That's why I'll never complain when CIG release a new ship, right? You get more variety, right? But then that goes down that track of like, okay, cool, well, why use this ship over that ship? And that's a whole nother discussion, which again, like there needs to be reasons for the smaller ships to still exist, right?
Yeah. But the problem with also that line of thinking is like where we're at right now, there's a million one ways for this can go. For example, the F7A. The best fighter if you know that you're going into a fight and the other guy can't leave. So arena commander, no shit. No shit take us to F7A. But if you're when I visit bunkers in the PU, the ships that I tend to see people bring are the ships that you've always seen. Cuddy Blacks, Cuddy Reds, Cutters.
The Aurora,
the occasional Constellation Andromeda, the occasional
Titan.
C1, Sentoki Eyes. Yeah. You don't really see the place just littered with F7As. And why is that? If you're not going into a fight, that's not always the ship that you want to bring. Now, when you hover around the places where a lot of people have done missions, you'll see a blown up F7A here and there because somebody messed up on a turn or something and just buried it into the ground. But going forward in the PU, how do you balance like the F7A? It has 2 power plants. They already said that power plants are going to consume fuel the moment the ship is running. So it has a fighter-sized fuel tank and it has 2 power plants. It just might not have the endurance, but we don't know because this is me drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but we can get into a 10-hour-long Master Modes conversation, but the problem isn't the speed of the ship. The problem is how much fire it has versus everyone else.
I'm the type of person who looks at this game, and if I'm flying around Pyro in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and I see an F7A, I want that F7A to have come from a home base somewhere. I would prefer if these fighters that can ruin your day are like a lot more short range than they're capable of right now, right? This is just me personally feeling this way about, light fighters type of thing.
I don't think it's you personally. I mean, go look at the design docs. Jared said some shit about, hey, some of those things are coming to fruition really soon, and that was one of the ones that were, they hard changed the way we were experiencing the game at that moment.
I mean, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and that's
you need your pocket carrier.
Yeah, but that's also the thing where it's like the best ship for a job right now is he with the most DPS wins. Because I've also had that exact same experience that you had, where it was, I'm with my friend in a constellation. We just did a bunker, and a Cuddy Black rolls up on me and shoots at me in a pass. I whip around, unload my size 5s on him, and he blows up in 3 seconds.
Yeah, laugh
Like,
and move
what?
on.
Yeah.
What a loser.
And then, you get the one guy in a Cuddy Black that really knows how to fly a Cuddy Black. And you don't kill him in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's also like, hold still.
Yeah, I mean, there's room to maneuver in the corridor, right? Of
Yeah.
preparation versus what's possible when these things. Oh, theoretically, this ship should destroy this ship, 100% of the time. But because it's a skill-based game, it's not always 100%. It's just depending on your flight skill and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I hope we retain some of that, but I mean, goddamn, that's a hard thing to balance, man. I do not envy them.
It is hard, and their core game design is harder because you want the guy in a single seat fighter to have fun, but you want the guy who has put in the time to get the multi-crew ship and to get a crew together to stand a chance against the guy in an F8C.
Yeah, they just haven't created that rock paper scissors mechanic yet. Like a bomber's supposed to kill the Connie, and a fighter's supposed to kill the bomber, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, but going into another thing that I wanted to talk about for 324.
Sure, and that'll be just so you know, that'll be the last thing, and then I'll let you go so we can get to other people. Okay.
This is the last thing that I even remotely want to really talk about.
Perfect.
Overall, if I were to rate this, I would give it a 6 out of 10 because there are some things that are just they could be smoother. I don't necessarily mind them, but then again, I played Eve since 2008. I've played Naval Action, and if you even know what that game is, you know how mismanaged that has been through its life. So I'm used to playing ship focused and kind of
mismanaged games.
to a degree, but the core is there now. Like, for the first time in this game's life, you can have a group go to your hangar. They have access to their own elevators. You can load up a ship together. You can store cargo, which has never happened before, outside of a ship. Like, the core is starting to finally be there.
Okay, now you're saying, I can agree with you, because you first said the core was there, and Twitch chat is giving it to you, because the core is starting to get there. I'm behind you on that, but the core of the game is still very, very far away.
We don't have
a lot of things.
Like armor, and they said they're waiting for Maelstrom. I don't know why it's hard just to get it. This ship protects against this much damage. You need this big of a gun to damage it. I don't know why that's hard.
It's not hard. It's because that's not what they want to do.
It's just for the interim.
Yeah.
It gives people a better idea.
They don't do interim.
But that would launch me off into
I mean,
that I don't want to go.
Look at the way soft death works, right? Soft death is there to emulate the experience of a ship not, exploding when it's supposed to get crippled more often than it just randomly explodes, right?
It's one of the only
but
times
soft death is like the most vulnerable state a ship can be in, and then you look at it the wrong way and it fucking explodes.
Yeah.
So how is this emulating something that is drastically more not vulnerable, right?
Yeah. I mean, and then play the engineering demo and it's the exact opposite. There are 0 explosions. And I think that experience is better. Because, like, especially in Atmo, like, you blow up a ship that falls down and then you board it. Like, you're fighting on the ground. It's like, whew, it's so good. I got to get back into doing that some more, but it's just the PU is the PU.
I haven't
Arena
touched
Commander is the Arena
engineering
Commander.
at all.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's
so
good. But, yeah, Chris, did we cut you off? Or are you done with that?
Nope. That was the thing that I wanted to say. That is perfect.
Dude, thank you for calling in today. I really enjoyed it. And, maybe I'll see you in Eve.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Later. Dude, Chris has been, or Eve has been so weird. I'll type in local chat or somebody will, because we have the same experience. And Eve is, like, I'm sure you've seen it, but this is for other people, where like you could see my name and it's starting to get kind of creepy where random people in Eve will be like, is that the SaltEMike? And I'm like, no, this is my safe place where I play games that I don't want to talk about fucking Star Citizen. And yeah, so
name change, bro.
2 days in a row. 2 days in a row it happened. So yeah, I got to change the name of my character or something. It's fucking crazy. I didn't know, like I took an Eve sponsorship. That's how I made the account. It's like wow. I didn't even choose the name. Like I took an Eve sponsorship a year ago.
The guys in this game are gamers, man. They're not going to know who I am, man. Like there's no chance.
They will eventually. If they don't know by now, they will soon. Like, yeah. Especially if the type of content that you've been making, like with a little bit more opinionated, people will be like, "Oh, what's going on in Star Citizen? Let me watch this opinion video about it or whatever." Right? But yeah, let's get to our next caller, the 5-star. But it was yeah, that's just been the experience lately. It's like, what the fuck? I can't hide. I want to hide in my little Eve world. I want to hide in New Eden. Nope. Yo, 5-star, can you hear us?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What up?
Hey, Shadow Patch Man.
Yeah, the Shadow Patch.
Oh, boy, dude, nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. How's it going? Well, I can't see you, but nice to hear you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Boy, dude, I want to say real quick, love your content. I know we've popped in each other's chats now and then, but really, really respect the hustle, man. You constantly put out good content, and it's awesome.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And likewise, dude. I love the Shadow Patch videos, man. Amongst others.
Oh, thanks, bro. So, yeah, I'm just driving in from Tampa. I was away for my birthday weekend, but I was listening to the podcast.
Birthday.
Hey, yeah, thanks, bro. Appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate it, guys. Yes, I was listening to the convo. Really interesting stuff right now with the PTU. I'm about to jump on and try some of the Blockade Runner, but I already know it's gonna be a train wreck, but I gotta see what's up with it. But
it's only a train wreck at the end delivery part. Like,
yeah, you just can't like sell stuff. Yeah.
You can't progress through it, but you can get a feel for the flow and be like, I like this, or I don't, or I have some feedback or whatever. I liked it. I liked the flow. It was nice.
It's mechanically it's piracy. It's great. Yes.
And
everybody should do it.
Yep.
I was gonna say, Void, dude, I heard when you said that earlier, and that was exactly my first thought. Was they essentially took the piracy quote unquote game loop and made a PvE version of it for the Space Dads.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly so glad they did that, because now when the complaints of piracy come in a little later, we can kind of point out Blockade Runner and be like, you see why it happens. You know, it's a fun thing to do. You know.
Yeah.
Dude, somebody with an anti-pirate agenda will always be able to like counter that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The anti-pirate agenda is always, but there was no reason for you to kill me.
There you go. Well, I had fun. So
yeah.
But the money.
Or just the fun of, like, people literally kill other people to hope they rage in Gen Chat.
Playing the game, man. It's just playing the game.
Yeah, that's the whole point. You said that once, Mike. You were like, he gets upset in chat. I thought that was the whole point. Like,
yeah. I can't wait till they start losing their mind. Like playing Arena Commander, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, SaltEMike's here," and then they'll start talking shit, and then I'll kill them, and then they start getting mad, and it's like, yeah, that's right, bitch. Or they get quiet.
Oh,
that's when it's good. Now I know you're mad.
True. But yeah, I wanted to talk about two things in particular today. The first one was the fire extinguishers.
They're badass.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So watching that ISC, I was loving it, man, because the fire extinguishers I thought were really cool. The fact that the fire is based on like the actual fire triangle of like heat, fuel, oxygen was really, really cool. I like that they're going so in depth with it. I did a little bit of firefighting back in the Navy, so like I have some training with that, and I never saw a game do it so realistic.
Yeah, like so you have to hit the bottom of the flame you can't just shoot it at the flames.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. The venting the ship, all of that is awesome. But I do have one big concern though. When they mentioned the fire extinguishers, I was kind of thinking about it like, is this going to be another situation like ship components where only the newer ships have it, and then all the old ones we gotta wait for them to get like a redesign to put them
No.
in, you know?
I think
Or
this
will
is
they
going to
just
be
tack 'em in
master
somewhere?
modes. They either all come in or they don't.
Yeah, I would
I
hope
hope
so.
so, man. It could be
But
like
what's
a Carrick
good-
situation. It's
What's
like,
good is it's only multi-crew ships. Only ships with an interior need them.
yeah.
True,
So-
but I mean, there was because the first time I really noticed this was when the C8R came out. Because I loved what they did with the interior. I thought it was so cool. They did so much with such little space, and I remember seeing this little fire extinguisher slot.
Yep.
And I just remember like thinking like, wow, they took time to do this. And like every ship after that, I noticed they took time to do that.
Yeah.
And then I started to think like, well, wait, what about the older ships? You know, so that's why that's in my head now.
Well, don't worry. 4.0 is definitely not coming in Q3, so they have plenty of time to do it.
What I was bummed out about with the fire thing was they said so like you've got all this like scorch mark on your interior, right? Like this decal that's just like, you know, ruined your ship and it looks like ass.
Mhm.
If you go and repair your ship, that gets instantly repaired.
Yeah.
I was really hoping, like when I heard that, I was like, oh man, how cool would it be if you had to use your RMC thingy to go and clean that up manually,
Or
right?
a
That would be pretty
new-
sick.
A new like type of thing, like a paint can
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Something to manually go and do it so that you actually maintain your ship. It's a little bit of a time investment, but if you want it to look good, it doesn't impact you, but
Yeah.
you want it to look good, you've got to go and just give it a bit of a spray. I
Yeah.
think that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing is, like,
it's not like they can't do that though.
Yeah, for sure.
They
because
might.
we're gonna get ship repairs eventually, right? So the closest thing we can see to that now is when you attempt to repair your ship with a repair tool or whatever, RMC. And you know, it kind of like keeps the scars there, but repairs the ship. So I imagine like the more we do our own repairs, maybe at our own bases or from repair ships, then we'll have, you know, the interior stays scorched and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. Future stuff.
All right.
And that's the thing, right? It's like just clicking that repair button. It's to hopefully by 4.0, some serious money sinks and a rebalanced economy and less legacy things inflating things. Maybe you know the RMC tool, the what do you call it? The Cambio,
the light, and then the
hull fixer.
regular.
Yeah,
SRT.
like that should see more because it's such a detailed system and all these incredible effects and it looks amazing, but there's zero reason to ever use it. You know what I mean?
Play the engineering mode.
Engineering. Oh man,
Yes.
you're getting me hyped for engineering.
It
man. I've
is.
got to try it sometime.
It is like, and I guess you'll lose the experience that I had, which was like the first time they did the engineering demo versus getting feedback and building it throughout. They went from like it instantly repaired everything to, all right, this consumes RMC at a much higher rate than you would think.
Oh.
So you better come prepared. You're going to have to reload. And when you run out of RMC, your ass is grass kind of thing. So now all of a
Can I
sudden,
get to the point where you're
RMC
like, oh fuck, I really need more RMC. We don't have any stockpiled. Let me go and suck off my ship.
or your own
Take that
ship or one of the ships that you just killed. Now
Yeah, and
you've
then
done a kill.
repurpose it.
And you're not
That's
just RMC
cool.
scraping with a vulture. You're going out there and you're scraping to get more in your canister to be able to, you know, deal with any. So your ship doesn't catch on fire, right? That kind of thing. That's coming next as well. So it's
True.
cool. I love it. I love where it's going. It is
That's
a little
very
bit
cool, yeah.
crazy, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty
just saw
pumped for it.
Twitch chat. What? I'm repeating that so people in YouTube chat can hear that. Voidy just typed in chat. I just helped my uncle jack off a horse. That's
Because of the
Just so
phrasing.
you-
I said,
I missed
the phrasing of
I guess.
let me go suck off my ship, and then it's that same thing of like phrasing.
There you go. So
Boom, got
just so
him.
everyone can hear it and know what type of guy you are. A ship enjoyer, or
My uncle sure loves horses.
yeah. Do you watch Forsen?
Forsen. What is Forsen?
He's
What's
a
that?
streamer that got banned for showing a horse cock on his stream. Yeah,
Yes, as you
He's
do.
Got him.
famously banned for watching a clip with a horse.
Lol.
Wow.
Yes.
But But yeah, that was one other thing I wanted to talk about. The just to give my 2 cents on the most controversial part of this patch, the item banks. I actually don't mind them as much as most people do, because if I'm kitting up to go, storm a bunker, I'm gonna take a little time doing that. But I think the main issue with it, for me at least, is when you die, there should be a quick way to just get back into your sperm suit. Because most of the people that play the game, they die, they come back, they just throw on the default suit and run back out. So I was thinking maybe like if they physically put the sperm suit in your clinic when you wake up, you just grab that and go, and you don't have to deal with the item bank in case you're just trying to do ship combat, And then if you want to
Man,
gear up,
less
you do the item bank.
less sperm suits, the better, man. It makes the loot pool more interesting. if you
I
know what mean.
agree. I agree. But like you think about it right now, everyone does run around in a sperm just to avoid the friction of the I button. So you can imagine
sure.
once we have the item bank, people are really gonna get frustrated.
How about just being able to purchase basic things from the item bank, and it'll be delivered to your bank from the store that's literally in the space station and only an elevator hop away.
That is true. That is true.
Right?
You guys don't get this. Sorry, carry on, Foster.
Oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
You guys don't get the sense that the freight elevator UI for your freight cargo elevator, they've just taken that and are using it at the personal storage access kiosk thing.
Pretty
For what reason? Why not just walk up to that kiosk, press F, and get your old school puppet inventory screen? This is what I don't understand.
I don't understand either. And then the fact that you open the drawer and then you get the old screen that they want to get rid of, and they're like, "Yo, look at us, we're so awesome," and then we're like, "No, you're not," and then they get mad, and you're like, "I can't anymore."
I just don't understand it. Right? It's not a make or break for me, but
No.
it is weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird series of design decisions.
It's not make or break, but if you keep making stupid choices when it actually is make or break, can I trust that you're going to deliver? And the answer right now is no.
That's arguably the problem with Star Citizen is
Yes.
it is 1,000 little weird design decisions that don't quite make sense.
Death of 1,000 paper cups.
Exactly, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the I'm working on the next video now. A lot of the tips in there are just how to leverage this new system and how to sidestep it where you can. So like one of the things is when you gear up, you can throw in a chest piece and a backpack. So when you go shopping, you can choose the buy location as your backpack. So when you buy your ammo and med pens and stuff, it just goes right onto you, and you don't gotta go deal with the item bank. And it's unfortunate that that's how we gotta look at it, but
I'm currently theorizing, like at wherever you're calling your home, have a couple of crates ready to go, and you just make sure those crates are up, and then you literally walk up to the crate and you equip what's in them.
Yep, because you get the old UI.
Exactly, it's so funny.
You get the old
and
UI.
Looting too. Yeah, looting is like a step back. Like at bunkers, people would take the big containers. That's like a whole.
Anymore.
You can. It's just
it's
much more of a process. You got to like drop everything on the ground, then drag it over one by one into the So it's doable, but
I really wonder what is the intended bulk looting experience in their minds one day. Not what we have now. What is a designer at CIG thinking of for like, oh, the guy who goes to a bunker and loots 100 corpses? What is that actually going to be like? What is their design intent there?
Great question. I imagine it's because I imagine we'll physically open those boxes and like put things in them. I don't know. I feel like they want things to go as physical as possible, to where when you don't have a menu.
But like what's so strange is like we've got this new looting menu, right? That was obviously adapted for like Squadron 42 or whatever, and it's very Apex Legends. It's very quick and efficient. It's probably one of the best UIs ever, right? Why isn't that being utilized with the personal kiosk storage thing? In some way, a more complicated version of that, right? With a puppet inventory thing.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I would agree. Yeah,
I don't get it. Like, why? How do we lost functionality from the old UI? We don't have the cool functionality of the new one. Like, I wave my mouse over the P4AR ammo, and it's like the P4AR lights up. This ammo is for that. Like, what are we doing? If you look at the game, there's no uniformity in any of it. in
Yeah.
any of it. But yeah, I don't know. 5, I would say last comment, and then we'll probably call it a show for the other people that are in the queue. I don't think we're going to get to them because we hit the 2-hour mark.
Gotcha. Yeah. The only other thing I would have to say is you guys were talking about 4.0 not coming out this year.
I mean, I'm just making a joke, but
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Who fucking knows?
My whole thing is like, man, if this patch would come out maybe the end of the month, they want, quote unquote, want 4.0 by SitCon in October. We never got another Pyro playtest. So, do you think one of those is like
what
around the
happened to
corner,
those,
maybe?
man?
Yeah.
You didn't just get
Yeah.
another Pyro playtest. You never got a server meshing test.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
proper server meshing test. You got the RMQ tests, which is not server meshing. They're literally testing RMQ in 324, right?
Well, I've got good news because I'm going on holiday middle of next week and I'll be gone for a while. So you guys are going to get all the patches. Like 3.24 is going to go live. 4.0 will probably go live. Like, you guys are welcome, man. Enjoy.
Do you know what they do to me every time I have a hockey game? That was the Evo patch that was like had the fixes in it that you could actually play. That was that's guess when Wave 1 happened? The night I had a hockey game. Thursday. They drop them on a Thursday
so typical,
now.
Man. It's
I have
unbelievable.
Thursday night hockey every Thursday. Bang. Get me.
They're
every
watching
time.
Mike.
Yep. So it is what it is.
That's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, dude. Of course. Yeah, and for the people that were in the queue that we didn't get to, I literally just we choose random numbers and choose you because I only have a couple monitors, and since I'm running the show entirely by myself today, I couldn't see when you guys came in and who came in first and do it the fairest way. So I did it the next fairest way I could think of. But given that it's about noon and I don't think we have any food in our refrigerator right now. We have to go to the store. It's go time for me, and the 2-hour mark is usually probably a good place to stop for the pod. So, any final thoughts there, Voidy? 5-star. Thank you. I'll let you go. Any final thoughts for 324? And now you're taking a little vacay, so you're gonna miss some things.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably miss a bunch of stuff.
When you get back,
but yeah, I mean,
where do you think we'll be?
Yeah,
How about that?
Oh, maybe I'll be surprised if
we don't know how long you're gone for, but yeah.
I'm only gone for like a week and a half or so not too bad. Week and a half from now, man. I don't know. Hopefully like a.
Hopefully, when you deliver your
probably
stuff,
where we'll be.
It counts.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, all I really care about at the moment is like working scrapyard elevators. There's a lot of like studying and stuff that we want to test in that, but as I said, we're not going to get drastic change between now and then. We're just going to get fixes, right? Well, hopefully we're going to get fixes. So
yeah,
it is what it is for now. And I'm more excited to just explore the patch in a live or a larger environment, right? Because it's very condensed right now. Like, I mean, I was doing Blockade Runner last night, 30-player servers. Like, it felt weird. It was responsive, but it was still broken, right? So
yeah, and why is it responsive? Because 30-player servers.
There's only 30 players. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll trudge along and see how it goes, but I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful for the future.
Yeah, I'm still optimistic, hopeful for the future as well. I think every step they're taking is a step in the right direction. But I still like I've been saying, it still feels like we're missing the actual plot of the game, right? And but everything
the meat is lacking.
Yeah, we're getting the bread and the veggies and all the stuff that's just gonna be those layers of flavor. And that was this year. We got so many layers of cool flavor, but we're missing that protein or whatever that we really need.
I think
right?
That sums it up nicely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really enjoyed and am enjoying the cargo missions. I hope we get a little bit more commodity trading to mix in with it. And I don't know, man. The thing I want more than anything is just give me some server meshing tests. Let's see how they progressed, because none of this shit matters if we can't get a bunch of people in the game, right? So
yeah, I mean, for me, it'll always be that key word that they said there. On the actual release note thing, it says distribute the load, right? I don't care if we get 100, like 200, or if it stays at 100. If they distribute that load and we get more stability over long periods of time, the game will be more of a game in my mind. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if that load is 100 people around Hurston, it's still just going to feel more alive, right? And that's really what we need. So, all right, I guess that's where we'll leave it. And we'll do the whole. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please check out Voidy. Because of everything being so last minute, I didn't have all the links and stuff ready to go for YouTube chat, but it will be in the description on the actual video that comes up, of course. So if you guys are on YouTube, Voidy Vids on YouTube, so you can at Voidy Vids, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Simple as. Yeah.
Yep. And then same as on Twitch, it's at Void Dude. So VOIDUDE. I accidentally put two D's in the title today, but now it should be correct up there. So check him out. He's playing the game, guys. The man's playing the game. I know I get shit for that all the time. I don't. This one plays the game. Check him out.
I try to play the game. Sometimes it feels like the game plays me, though. Let's be real.
Well, the game plays all of us for sure. At times, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, he plays the game, makes the game fun. Anytime I've played with him, it's been fun. So yeah, feel free to check him out. But do you have your phone near you? We have to do something super cringe.
I do not have my phone near me. I actually have no idea where my phone is.
You have to remember to answer the call.
Can I do a banana phone?
Yeah. I made him do